Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is the Angry Chicken. I'm Garrett, here with Joss. Hey, Joss. How you doing? You ready to talk Hearthstone?
I am so ready to talk Hearthstone. We have a surprising amount of stuff this week. I don't know. I thought it would just be kind of quiet and down, but no, it's like stuff everywhere. Ixar went nuts.
Ixar, I'm starting to feel like this is just how he is operating now, because Ixar has been Dean. You know, because we are friends. We can actually call him by his first name as if we were friends. Dean's been super chatty.
As if we are friends.
consistently chatty. To the point where I'm starting to think it might be time for an Ixar bumper. Because, Jocelyn, now, I'm not sure we've ever had you on Into the Nexus, have we? Doesn't matter.
No.
Over on our hero show, back when Dustin Browder was on the Heroes team, was the head of the Heroes team, we had a little mini bumper that lived within news. It was like a mini segment within news called Browder Tweets, because he was very, very active on the Twitter, and it was just like a clip of him going, right. I could be wrong. So it's a bunch of clips.
That's a great quote.
Yeah. Well, it was a supercut of him saying right in 4 different areas, and then him going, I could be wrong. I feel like we're getting to that point. I feel like Ixar has been chatting enough on Twitter consistently enough that it might be time for Ixar to get his own segment on the show.
I would be totally down with that, because he's all over the place.
You Angry Chicken listeners, this is where I need your help. You can tweet at the show at TAC Podcast. Let me know if there is an Ixar clip from an interview from somewhere. They've never actually given us Ixar for an interview ever.
That's true.
But someone else, there's a funny little Ixar quote that you think would be good bumper material.
He's done the live streams too, so you guys can look there.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff. Has to play for audio, though. Has to really play for audio. So something he said that's funny, tweet to us at TAC Podcast, because I think it's time. I think the time has come for Ixar to ascend to Angry Chicken bumper levels of stardom.
It's such an honor.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Jocelyn. There's a lot to talk about today. I think it might be, and which is funny because I also think this might be the quietest week we have for a very long time.
And we still have such a full show that I wasn't sure if we were going to make it to emails.
Yes, which we may not. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. We're going to really try very, very hard. And so with that in mind, I'm curious, before we get into the thick of it, there's something off the top of the show I wanted to ask you about, because you got a chance to get a sneak peek of what HS Replay is working on in regards to Battlegrounds.
I did. And oh my God. Okay. So you guys, I feel so lucky right now because I got to actually do like a usability test for them. And so I got a peek behind the curtain, and I'm not breaking anything right now. I'm not breaking any NDAs or whatever. They said it was totally cool if I talked a little bit about it and like hyped it up and stuff. And they basically have built HS Replay, but for Battlegrounds, using all of like the data. If you guys are using Hearthstone Deck Tracker or whatever, they've been like building up a database in the background, and there's a website coming, you guys, and it's so cool. It's like the first thing when I opened it up, I was like, honestly, they have been tracking more stuff than I would even like. Some of the stats that they're showing and some of the information, I'm just like, this is stuff I didn't even know that I wanted to know, but now I want to know it about everything always. Like there's so much cool stuff in there. They've got essentially like to draw kind of parallels over to what they've been doing for like Wild and Standard. They have essentially kind of like a mulligan guide almost that like teaches you like when to tavern up. There's like sections about like different comps and what you should be aiming for, and what minions will like improve your rank when you buy them on what turn. Like, it's just, Garrett, it's so much information. I'm like, just wow.
So I was invited to get a sneak peek as well. I unfortunately didn't have time to take them up on their offer of like when the times that they were available to kind of show me around. However, while I was at the summit, Tiago was like, hey man, take a look at this, and just hands me his phone. It's just running. Damn it! It's just running a version of like, I'm sure obviously an earlier version of what you got to look at, and I just held on to his phone for a good like 10 minutes, just like, and he had that look on his face like, hey, I'm kind of ready for my phone back now. And I was just fascinated by how much stuff they had worked into this thing. So I'm really stoked. We can't announce when it's coming, but it's coming soon. Like not Blizzard soon.
Yeah, like soon-ish. It's still in like closed beta. They're still doing tests and like finalizing visuals and all that kind of cool stuff. But I'm so excited for you guys to get your hands on it because it looks so cool. There's so much information. I feel like it's the kind of thing that I'm going to have like open all the time while I play Battlegrounds. And just like, it'll help you pick a hero. It'll help you, like, it'll tell you what kind of comp is best for the hero that you've chosen. It'll tell you when to use your hero power, guys, when to use your hero power. What? I just honestly, I was playing around with it for like an hour and I just, oh God, I'm like almost speechless. It's so much information. It's exactly what you need because I know like for people like me anyways, who have never played an auto battler, who know and love Hearthstone, but you know, like since you can't just like choose to play Hunter and learn Hunter, right? Like you get 3 options. It might be heroes that you're completely unfamiliar with. And then you have to choose one of those 3. So you kind of have to learn the whole pool of heroes from the get-go. And that's a huge learning curve. And this tool, like, I wish that it had been out since Battlegrounds launched, right? But unfortunately, you know, it wasn't because, you know, Battlegrounds kind of came out of left field. But yeah, there's so much information that is going to be so helpful for people who are new to the genre, who are new to Battlegrounds and Hearthstone or what have you, or just have any questions about like how things are changing. You can do the same sort of filters as like you have like legend and then like 1 to 5 and, you know, 10 to 15 and all those kind of ranks and stuff on the standard and wild side. They've got the same sort of thing based on MMR on the Battleground side. So you can see what like everybody's doing, or you could be like, no, just tell me what like the super good at the game people are doing. And you can like narrow it right down to like your top 20% or something.
Oh, I am
like,
friggin'
oh, man, it's so good.
Yeah, because there's definitely multiple strategies, let's put it like drafting strategies that I am just horrendously unpracticed with, and sometimes that is all you are given to work with in a given session of Battlegrounds. And so I'm really looking forward to this tool to help shore that up. There's a lot of reasons. I'm basically excited for everything you just freaking talked about. So keep your eye out over at hsreplay.net for whenever that ends up going live, and we really appreciate them trusting us to take an early look at that. Again, like not sponsored, they're not paying us for this. They were just like, hey, you want to see something cool? And you always say yes.
Guys, it's super cool.
When you're a kid, it's usually like firecrackers. When you're an adult Hearthstone podcaster, it's really read Hearthstone stats.
Yeah, it's math and stats and graphs. Oh my.
yeah, it's the best. It's the best. So yeah, I mean, God, Lord, there's so much to talk about today. It's almost like Jocelyn, there's a storm coming. You know, it's like I feel like a storm's coming.
Yeah. You feel it in your bones.
I feel it in the cards. It's in the cards, Jocelyn. It's in the cards. Before we get into today's show, kick it off with some segments. We're going to start with Battlegrounds, by the way. I couldn't decide whether to start with one or the other, but Battlegrounds has like hard rather than leaks and teases. So we're going to start with Battlegrounds this week. But before we do that, I want to thank those of you supporting us over at Patreon. If you like what Jocelyn and I are doing here at the Angry Chicken, you want to support us, the Patreon is the absolute best way to do so. It is an opt-in subscription. You can stop at any time. It can be for however much you would like to support the show for. So go check it out over at patreon.com/TAC. We've got some perks for you, like an ad-free feed to get the podcast on, and also access to our Discord and all sorts of other stuff. So go check it out. And to 2 of our more recent patrons, AJ Minodi and Zachariah Sutton, thank you very, very much for supporting this here podcast. We appreciate it. Thank you, Clucker. This should have been necessary. There's more than one person here today.
There's multiple.
Yeah. So with that in mind, let's get to it. This week's Battlegrounds segment.
Have a good battle, friend.
I will, Bob. All right, Joss. His days are numbered. Maybe, honestly.
Already?
Maybe not so much. It looks like Deathwing's reign may not last a whole lot longer. If you have been not following Ixar on Twitter, I would highly recommend it. You would be very in the know about a lot of things regarding Hearthstone. But Ixar tweeted up a storm going through what he was calling 10 Battlegrounds fun facts over the weekend. And it looks like a nerf bat is coming with Deathwing's name on it. I hope this is actually a literal object that exists in Team 5 headquarters. I hope they have a nerf bat, and I hope they have emblazoned Deathwing upon it before they throw this live. But Ixar tweeted 10 tweets with different facts, and the 9th out of those 10 stated that, quote, Deathwing is the most powerful hero in all regions at all levels outside the very, very top-rated players. And yeah, and then went on to say that they are playtesting him internally at +2 attack and will likely nerf him to that soon TM. And Joss, are you reading into that TM? Because I'm not reading into that TM. I've seen how fast they move with this mode. I don't think that TM needed to be there.
I think Battlegrounds TM is kind of different than all other Hearthstone TMs, which is even different than all other Blizzard TMs, because I feel like this is probably the kind of thing where we're going to have to wait maybe a couple of weeks. Like, I don't really know. And we're going to talk a little bit later on in the show about what's going on in Standard. And I'm wondering if maybe that could have an impact. Like if they're ramping up to the next Standard year, that maybe they'll put Battlegrounds on the back burner a little bit, or maybe we'll get it super soon, like super like imminently, because they want to get it out of the way before they kind of shift the focus over back to Standard again. I don't really know, but I think it's going to be soon in the like TM in the Battlegrounds world, which like a couple weeks tops, I would think. Not like months from now.
I'm having a similar fit. Like I think if we go 2 weeks, I'll be impressed.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I'm landing on this. But yeah. So what do you think of this? I mean, have you gotten a lot of Deathwing games in? I mean, it's been, God, has it only been 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they're like looking at nerfing him so quickly. I think that speaks to how much of an impact he's had, because it completely changes not only like it completely changes how everyone in the lobby drafts when Deathwing is in a game, and Deathwing is in like all the games. The only time Deathwing isn't in a lobby similar to Tyrion is when he's just straight up not offered. Like that's, and obviously I can't see everyone's hero pick, but I mean, who's getting Deathwing and not picking Deathwing at this point?
Yeah, me on day 1. That was it. And then like by game 5, I went, "Oh, I'm an idiot. This hero's amazing."
I am so glad, by the way, that like Deathwing is my Battlegrounds life drinker. I'm just so glad that I was like, Deathwing is good. Tokens go.
Yep, as it turns out, Deathwing.
Yeah.
Very good hero.
Yeah.
Very freaking good hero. So
it's going to be the one Battlegrounds thing that I'm ever going to call. And from now on, then I'm just going to, I'm not going to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm honestly,
I get one per mode.
I'm not so sure how much of an impact like bringing him down 1 attack is going to have. Cause like, as far as like breakpoints are concerned, like the big thing is rats, right? And so instead of having 4 attack rats, you have 3 attack rats. And so how many?
So it's like 1 less token.
Right. How many? Well, really, it's like how many 4 health minions are you not one-shotting with your rat in the early game? And there's, I mean, I guess there's Homunculus, which is a very unpopular tier 1 pick. And then I'm just going to look at like tier 1 and 2 right now, because I can't remember all of the health amounts. I think,
Homunculus is the only 4, and then
you've got Glyph Guardian at 2, which would then survive, but Glyph Guardian is usually already damaged because you lead with Glyph Guardian because it doubles its attack when it attacks. So you want it to attack first, hopefully survive, and then get another attack in with its now doubled attack value. So Yeah, you got Nathrazim Overseer, which those do make it out.
But I feel like people don't generally keep that on board for too long, though, right? Like you want to sell that to get that back in the pool so that you can buy it again.
Yeah, but I'm thinking early game, and that's when you would see a Nathrazim Overseer on board because you're very gold limited, and so it's just like, oh snap, I got one because a +2/+2 buff early game is really really strong, and
really
honestly,
good, yeah.
so is a 2/4. Like a 2/4 does some work. So if we're talking, turn 3, 4, 5, yeah. Nathrazim Overseer, it's very, very probable, I think, that would be on the board. But for the most part, there's still a ton of minions in the 1 and 2 star pool that you're still going to be one-shotting with a 3 attack rat.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to talk about because I think more than Deathwing necessarily being a problem, I think Rat Pack is just a problem with the way that it works and the increase in attack. You've basically said like, hey, Deathwing, without you having to do anything, you just are going to get more tokens out of your Rat Pack, right? So you don't have to buff it. You don't have to put it beside another minion to buff its attack or anything. Like you just straight up get bonus tokens. And that is just super, super, super powerful. So I feel like Rat Pack maybe, even before they touched Deathwing, I kind of wish that they had just gotten rid of Rat Pack as a minion because it's just too good.
Yeah. You were defending it last week, though, weren't you? I'm not crazy, right? You're like, but Rat Pack is... We had a conversation last week.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did talk about... And I mean... So I wouldn't necessarily say defending it as much as pointing out how important it is to the beast comp. And I think with the beast comp, like you might have to replace it. But the fact that you can pick a Rat Pack and you don't even care what tribe you're playing, I think that's kind of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's also, I think, a little bit of nature of the beast. It's early game. You don't know what freaking tribe you're gonna play. You're figuring out as you go along. So I think it's okay if Rat Pack kind of inhabits that a little bit. And again, we are, and I think I mentioned this last week, and I still feel the same way, which is like if we're looking at Rat Pack and go, you gotta go, buddy, because of one hero. I think the hero is the problem and not the Rat Pack.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like Rat Pack is good and has been good for quite a long time, and I'd be kind of okay if he was just gone for a while.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because I think he was powerful, maybe not necessarily as problematic, but he was powerful before Deathwing came in, right? So
yeah, it's just that I think the runway on Rat Pack runs out pretty damn fast unless you get lucky and get a relatively early triple. But that is part of the challenge of Beast is that we're like past turn like 8 at this point. Okay, the Rat Pack leader isn't cutting it anymore, and now I'm looking for Mama Bears, which is the end of the damn game, and we're not there yet. So I don't know. I've still got I'm keeping a little flame alive for Rat Pack.
All right.
So. Anyways, other things that Ixar had to say was, oh goodness, I just destroyed the overlay. What just happened? There we go. We're good, everybody. I'm kind of curious about some of these other like fun facts that Ixar tweeted, Joss. And this first one, I'm gonna just rapid fire these. I'm gonna stop after each tier of minion, and I want you to just say surprising or not surprising. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
All right, Murloc Tidehunter is the most picked tier 1 minion.
Okay, I literally have to Google which one this is, and there's too many things called Tidehunter, so
that's
my
the 2/1. That's one's a 1/1.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, okay, not surprising. For some reason, I thought the Tidehunter was the one that grew as you played more Murlocs, and I was gonna say super surprising, but no, the token generator that has more attack than the other token generator, that absolutely makes sense.
How could you ever get Tidehunter confused with Tidecaller?
Right?
How dare you? How freaking dare you? Where the hell did Tidehunter go? Is Tidehunter not on the website? Oh no, it's right there. It's right next to Tidecaller. So, all right. Spawn of the Zoth is the most for tier 2.
I think you've got your overlay mixed up again.
I do.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so Spawn of N'Zoth for tier 2. Yeah, that makes sense. That's really powerful at that point in the game. Buffing your whole board. Makes sense.
Are you surprised about Cobalt Guardian being the most picked for tier 3?
Speaking of minions that can just GTFO because I'm really sick of seeing them in every freaking lobby. Cobalt Guardian, get out of here.
Tier 4 is where I actually get a little bit surprised. Defender of Argus, the most picked tier 4 minion.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising, but I feel like tier 4 is just this kind of weird middle ground now that people tend to rush through. And Defender of Argus is kind of good for everybody because there's only a couple of tribes that actually have really good taunt options. And mech pops into my mind immediately because of a Noya module that you can actually magnetic onto any of your other tribal minions, right? So, or like by tribal minions, I mean any of your other mechs. So you can
bet it was a Noya module when Amalgam was still in the game.
Possibly, because then that would have been picked by everybody. But it's like Defender of Argus lets you just, regardless of what tribe you are, have taunts and choose what taunts those are going to be. So I can definitely see Defender of Argus being picked kind of across everybody. It's just kind of mechs that can make their own taunt. So I guess technically Beast can too with Houndmaster. But yeah, I can see how Defender of Argus would just kind of straight up be popular, right?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And honestly, looking at tier 4, probably the only other minion I think that would maybe give it a run for its money is Cave Hydra, but I think Cave Hydra's stock has fallen a bit. So yeah, honestly, Argus probably doesn't surprise me that much. Just a little bit. Tier 5, Brand Bronzebeard apparently wins tier 5, which I would say is stiff competition. We've got Baron Rivendare, we've got an Island Battlemaster, Goldrin, which yeah, you honestly probably aren't too stoked about.
If you're beasting, then you're probably Goldrining, but that, like, he's very specific.
Yeah, but that yeah, Bran.
And again, Bran is very like across the board kind of good. So
yeah, and honestly, like I've seen so much chatter about how menagerie builds are kind of back in again, that there's a place for them once again, and Bran just gives that the gas to go.
Yeah.
So and yeah, I mean, there's battle cries that buff every tribe, so why not? Why wouldn't you want a Bronzebeard? But come on, death rattles. You got to go for the dream. Live your dreams, everybody. Pick Baron Rivendare. What are you doing?
Yeah, 100% all the time. I do. I love death rattles. That's my jam.
And then finally at tier 6, Gascoiler wins out for tier 6.
Which again, that one feels like, even though technically he's a beast, it still doesn't have to be a beast comp. And I feel like he's just good regardless of what your comp is, especially like I'm thinking of like when people are tripling up and then getting their tier 6 minions through triples, and you get those options offered to you. It's like some of them are so specific that like you can just write them off if that's not the tribe that you're currently working on. But Gascoiler is just so good that you can basically stick him on as a placeholder regardless of your comp and get a few rounds out of him and then eventually replace him if you need to. But you don't even need to sometimes. He's just that good. So
yep.
Yeah, I can see this being picked regardless of what comp you're going for.
Just an insane amount of value.
Yeah.
Kind of quickly moving through the rest of these. Dancing Daryl is apparently the second most played hero on EU and Asia servers, but the 11th most played hero on the Chinese server. I guess you play a lot on your phones, China. That's the only thing that makes any sense to me with that. Reno Jackson is the 4th most picked hero, but has the 24th highest placement ranking among all heroes. Ragnaros is 23rd place and Pyramid is 25th. None of this surprises me. None of it.
Yeah, no, this sounds right. This sounds perfect. Like, everyone wants Reno to work. Reno is the lovable rogue. Like, everyone has seen him this year. He's been so central to like the plot of Hearthstone. There's been so many like trailers and stuff featuring him. He's been hilarious and fun. And yeah, I can see people wanting to be Reno and wanting to play Reno, but he's just not that good. Or at least he's like, he requires a lot of decision making. I think he's quite difficult to play properly. So I can see why on average he would rank low.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be able to pick the exact right time to use his hero power given what else is going on in your lobby. Like there is no magic use Reno's hero power now button or timing, sorry. And so I think that, yeah, I can see how on average he would be lower because like people might be using it too early. People like me hold on to it too long and get too greedy with it and then die before you've ever used it. Like it's a very tricky hero power to use properly. So yeah. I'm not surprised that he's highly picked but lowly rated.
Yeah. I'm going to skip a couple of these. This one's interesting. Akazamzarak apparently has quite the skew in his win rate, depending on where you are on the MMR. Among 5K plus rated players, Akazamzarak has the 8th highest average placement. But if you are below a 5K MMR, Akazamzarak has the 20th highest average placement.
Crazy.
So, I guess just not knowing how to get the most value out of secrets.
I guess so, which is surprising because they're all secrets that we're used to, right? There's no Battleground specific secrets, but I guess
I mean, there's definitely
he's a mystery.
There's a lot of unique interactions depending on how you draft too, and like what you have on the board, and kind of like playing to your outs. Like I've pulled out some really stupid wins when I shouldn't have because of like spawning a 2/3 Cobra and just knowing like, all right, 9 times out of 10 that Cobra just gets sniped and does nothing, but 1 time out of 10 it's the only way I win this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that's really freaking interesting. Lich Basil apparently 4th lowest average placement, but the 9th highest rate of first place finishes.
I don't think I've ever chosen her, even after they brought her back.
I used to really like her, and now she just stresses me out. Because, boy, just I hate taking damage. What the hell was I watching the other night? I think it was Zalay with That's Admirable, and That's Admirable was like cussing at Zalay for making him draft demons. He's just like, I don't want to take damage, and I was just like, boy, I feel this. I really feel this. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it. I don't want to take damage. So, yeah. Least powerful hero in all regions at all levels is Millhouse Manastorm. He has the lowest average placement and the lowest rate of top 4 and top 1. He could use a buff, says Zixar. And so, yeah, if we're... this is where... This plus, like, how long Tyrion lasted is why I completely agree with you, Josh, where you go, they're getting to Deathwing pretty quick. Because Millhouse has felt like the worst since he hit the game, and
poor Millhouse, you're the worst.
And Tyrion has felt like the best since he hit the game. It took them quite a bit to do something about Tyrion, and they just removed him entirely. So yep.
I'm not surprised that Millhouse is so low. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I guess this balances out my Deathwing call, right? Like I thought that there would be a super secret way to play Millhouse where it would be really, really good, but very high skilled. And you had to have like a really intimate knowledge of how the economy of Battlegrounds worked. No, I was just totally wrong. Millhouse is just bad. End of story.
Hey, you just have to get lucky. Like that's it. Like if you get really lucky rolls and you can buy all the things and they're actually good, it's amazing. But you have to get lucky basically all game long, which is just sounds exhausting, frankly. You don't want to get lucky that often. Nosdormu apparently just owning if you are above an 11,000 MMR. Highest average placement, Nosdormu, for 11,000 plus rated players. And then finally, apparently the most powerful hero in all regions at all levels was Tyrion. They play tested with his hero power at 2 mana, and it felt like too big of a detriment. They also thought about changing the minion pool, but opted to take some more time to playtest internally while they deactivate. And to which I say, Jaraxxus would like a word. 2 gold feels like too big of a detriment, huh? With the guy that doesn't really need to try that hard to draft what he wants, as opposed to Jaraxxus, who's trying to draft what a lot of people want.
What everybody wants and has wanted for a very long time now.
Yeah. What the H? Why you gotta be mean to Jaraxxus, okay? Is it because he's the Eredar Lord of the Burning Legion? Is that why? Eredar discrimination is what I say.
Yeah.
It's just the worst.
They just hate demons.
Be nice. Be nice to Jaraxxus. Just the pits, man. Just the pits. So, anyway, Dean didn't stop there, by the way. He also gave us Battlegrounds rating distribution. So if you want to feel better, or I don't know, maybe this will make you feel worse depending on where you are.
I feel so good.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So kind of letting us know where we fall in the entire player base of Hearthstone Battlegrounds, depending on our MMR. So if you are below MMR 5,000, you fall into 62% of everyone playing Battlegrounds. 5,500 is the top 20%, 6,000, top 10, 6,500, top 3%, 7,000, top 1%. If you make it to MMR 8,000, and I want you to think about all the streamers you watch that are in like the
I was going to say that are somewhere between like 10K and 12K. Yeah.
If you make it to 8,000, you are in the top 0.1%. And if you make it to 8,700, you're in the top 0.01%.
So basically, all the players that the streamers are playing against are like thousands of MMR below them because there's so few. There's so few people up at that level.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So I am happy to announce, Jocelyn, that I hit top 3% this week.
Nice.
And
I guess I'm chilling somewhere around 15 because I'm like around like 5,700 now.
And then I probably fell the shit out of it. I had some of the worst drafts I've ever seen. Today, by the way, I hit almost 6,600 yesterday. I had a great day. I'm like, yes, I get it. I'm good. I know how to draft. And then today, woof.
Different story.
Just, it's so bad. And then I was like, I want to go over to my Europe Smurf and see how that's going, because that's almost to 6,000 now. And nope, falling back to 5,500. Here we go. So it was like across both. I will say most of my drafts though super unlucky. Yeah,
of course, obviously it's never you. It's always the draft.
I have a pretty good idea about how to make most strategies work right now. So I think what I need to work now on is making strategies work without all the perfect pieces. So, but this is really cool. Keep these stats coming, XR. We would very, very much appreciate it. And so before we move on, Jocelyn, from this week's Battleground segment, get into the news, talk about things that are maybe leaks. Well, they're not leaks anymore because they're officially out and all that kind of stuff. We have a sponsor to thank today. It is Honey. Honey is back sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. You can get Honey for free over at joinhoney.com/TAC. If you are somehow unaware, it's a free online shopping tool. It's an extension to your browser. It just automatically goes out and finds you the best promotional codes and applies them to your cart. It's like a Shifter Xeris for shopping online, but it always just finds you what you're looking for. That's
a great comparison.
It's like, I'm going to take you. I'll take you, honey. You're like a Xeris, and then it always turns into money off the stuff you're trying to buy that you're excited about buying. I always mention shoes because I like shoes, and it helps me buy more shoes.
Who doesn't need shoes on shoes on shoes on shoes?
Yeah. I would make like a really bad coronavirus joke about how it helps me buy toilet paper, but people here are sane, and I can actually get toilet paper at my store. So I don't know why y'all buying toilet paper. Stop it. But it can help you save money on toilet paper. Might find you a coupon. It might find you a coupon. So go check it out. Honey has found its over 18 million members, over $2 billion in savings, and supports over 30,000 stores online. Things like Macy's, Target, Best Buy, Sephora. I think that's makeup. Yes.
Sephora. Yes. Okay. That's what I've used it for. Sephora. So good. Sephora is not cheap, you guys.
We're an Ulta house. I've been on many an Ulta run in my time. So go check it out. There, support the companies that support the Angry Chicken. Go to joinhoney.com/TAC right now. It feels awesome. It's like a little victory every day, especially on days when you can't get a victory like in Battlegrounds like me. It's great to save a little bit of money with Honey, and it's free to use. It installs in just seconds. You can get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/TAC. We thank them for their support. We thank you for going to that URL. And now, Jocelyn, let's get to it. This week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
So, speaking of coronavirus, in not a joking way, Masters Tour previously Indonesia, now Los Angeles, cannot catch a break. It will now be held online only. This whole...
So now is it just Masters Tour? Like it's not in a place anymore.
I think maybe I could understand wanting to just keep the LA name just for the sake of all of the Master Tour stops have cities or countries associated with them. And it would just be weird. If nothing else, it's just a really easy way to kind of categorize this particular event. So if there's some big upset or, you're trying to remember who won what, you just go, oh, Master Tour LA. That's who won that. I mean, it's such a serious situation, but all I want to do is we should just call it Master Tour COVID-19. Just lean into it.
I love Alvix in the chat room. Masters Tour Matrix.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. God, esports cannot catch a break. Overall. Yeah. Obviously it sucks. We've been reporting on a lot for Hearthstone because it affected the original Indonesia date and is now once again affecting it now that it's been moved to Los Angeles. But everything, IEM didn't let spectators in. They had over 10,000 expected spectators coming out to IEM. I'm a big StarCraft fan. I follow Tasteless, is one of my all-time favorite casters on Instagram, and they're taking your temperature at the door to get into the GSL studios to see if you have any signs of flu-like symptoms. On top of not having spectators, and also GSL itself has been postponed. It's just
E3
insane.
was canceled, not esports, but gaming. Yeah, E3 was canceled.
I mean, it wasn't looking great for E3 anyway. But that's a conversation for the Gamers In. It's a wonderful podcast. You should go listen to it. It's nuts. It's nuts. I've never felt more privileged to be a complete shut-in because of what I do for a living. Truly.
Yeah, it was funny. I was at work today and all my coworkers were like, oh my God, if I was shut in for quarantine for 2 weeks, that would be terrible. I was like, that sounds amazing. Can we get quarantined now? I just want to go home and play video games.
Yeah. It's just do we really need that meeting? Could this meeting be done from home?
Yes.
How much do you want to risk it for that meeting, Karen?
Damn it, Karen.
I joke to cover up my crippling fears of exactly what's happening right now.
Yes, obviously the coronavirus is a very, very very serious situation. Yep. We're not trying to make light of the illness or the victims of it in any way, shape, or form. And it's really unfortunate that Masters Tour LA is going to be online only, but at least this time Blizzard seems to be doing a better thing in that they are providing up to $1,500 in reimbursement for travel arrangements, though I do still think, the situation sucks and there isn't much that they can do about a pandemic, but at the same time, it does still kind of suck because all the same rules apply to, the changing of Masters Tour LA from Indonesia to LA. All those same arguments are the same for online, I couldn't afford to take time off work or I couldn't afford to travel, but had I known if Masters Tour was going to be online only, then I totally could have competed. All the other arguments. It all applies again. Just go and listen to the episode where we talked about it getting moved from Indonesia over to LA. All of those arguments apply again, but at least this time we're not talking about, maybe what was it, $250 or something, or maybe less. I can't remember.
I don't remember. It was a very small amount.
Not the cost of travel, and it was up to. This is still up to $1,500, but at least that is probably going to cover a majority of the people who were actually able to change their travel arrangements. So yeah, well, we'll see how it shakes out, but this seems like a number that makes a lot more sense to me in terms of reimbursing players for travel. A couple $100 is ridiculous, but at least $1,500. Anytime I've gone to LA for BlizzCon, granted, I live in North America, so it's a little bit different, I'm sure, than traveling from Europe or APAC or whatever. It's $1,500 would cover my travel expenses, my hotel and my flight for sure.
Yeah. Really at the end of the day, this is the kind of thing where it's kind of a gut feeling. Because we don't know what every single individual player paid for their flights. We don't know if this does.
Yeah. Obviously it's going to vary. Yeah.
But you can have a gut feeling of are they doing enough? And previously with the 300 or whatever it was, didn't feel right. You're like, that just doesn't, that seems low. That seems low.
But this seems much better.
This feels good. Yeah, exactly. And on top of all of that, the coronavirus situation has certainly obviously gotten extremely severe. And so they need to cancel it. It would be, I think, horrible of them and a horrendous risk to take to not cancel this event in a LAN setting. I mean, the event's not canceled, but like to cancel the LAN portion of this event, they're doing, I think, the responsible thing at this point. So,
and they did also warn people that they should be getting travel insurance for any events that are upcoming this year, that to make sure that, you know, you pay the extra few dollars to make sure you can get refunds in the event of cancellations. And I think there have been some companies who have been a little bit more flexible than others. Like, even if you do book non-refundable, I've seen people say, like, I explained the situation. Obviously they understand, I got my money back, blah, 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 blah. So it might be you need to make a phone call instead of, just clicking a link or something. But, you can talk to people if it's going to get you your travel money back, you guys. I believe in you.
In the blog post, they said that they would be contacting players directly, that they should expect an email with details on how to receive travel reimbursement no later than March 12th, which at the time we're recording this is tomorrow. Also, the announcement, as you mentioned, mentioned the travel insurance, but also talked about things like master storage on copying, and just saying that they're not sure how it's going to develop. They're going to let us know. But for now, enjoy Master Story Los Angeles, taking place online. It's going to stream live on youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports on March 20th, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So eat it up, Hearthstone Esports fans. When is
I am interested. I think April. I think it's supposed to start up in April. Okay. I am interested to know, though, what this actually means, because they didn't really talk about it too much when they changed it from Indonesia to LA, because one of the big questions we had at that point in time was are the people who can't go to LA who were qualified for Indonesia, do their spots open up? What happens there? And now that we're going online only, does that mean that, anyone who qualified for Indonesia or LA, will they both get to compete? Or, what does this actually mean? Is it going to be only available to those people who were going to actually be going physically to LA, even after that? The change from Indonesia, we don't really know. As far as I've seen, no one's really talking about who's actually going to play in this Masters Tour. So if you guys have any ideas, or if you can point us to a source, that would be great, because I couldn't really find anything.
Yeah, it wasn't mentioned in the blog post, so and I didn't see any follow-up statements anywhere. I'm sure it would have been plastered all over the Reddit. Ran a search, couldn't find anything. So in other news, getting away from esports for a minute, is that a Sludge Slurper is going to be unnerfed soon. This is the official Hearthstone account. It tweeted out that, quote, "In our next update, we'll be reverting nerfs to a few select cards. These will be primarily cards that are rotating in the wild. However, included in this update will be Sludge Slurper, which will revert back to 2 attack, 1 health." This is news to me. I wasn't aware of this.
And not much gets past Garrett these days, you guys. I know.
Moment to be human. I am excruciatingly thankful that I was able to go out to the summit. It's weird, though, because it's weird knowing everything, not being able to talk about it. It is, however, super helpful for the show, because now we know how to schedule things and can get a jump on it. We don't have to be oh God, this giant thing got announced today and blah, 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 blah. So it's I don't get to speculate, but I also have a way easier time making the show happen. So yeah. I mean,
which I appreciate as well, obviously. But yeah, so back to Sludge Slurper. It's, I think it's funny because it was never the card that we were looking at that we thought was super problematic. The nerf seemed to kind of come out of nowhere, and now the I guess reversion is kind of coming out of nowhere. I don't know why they ever touched him. I'll be honest.
Have you seen my win rate with Murloc Shaman?
No, I have not. Are you playing Murloc Shaman right now?
Not right now, but there was a good 4 months where that was
in the day.
Yeah, where that was my I'm being a little lazy on ladder. Let me just get to rank 5 real fast. And like, it was just bam, Murloc jump, Murloc jump, just slam it, slam it, slam it, slam it. No, I'm still playing Dragon Hunter because just a horrible person. And I haven't really loved a Hunter deck in a long time. So I'm just kind of enjoying going face. It's fun to go face sometimes, Jocelyn. It's fun to go face.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Sludge Slurper going back. I'm glad. I didn't think he needed to be nerfed in the first place. So I think they were just like, Shaman is terrible. Nerf bats.
Listen, yeah. Shaman's had a lot of overpowered cards and abilities and ways to play for the past like ever standard years. And but Sludge Slurper, frankly, in Murloc Shaman, very strong card, but it's fine. It's fine. This can go back. Shaman's having a rough time right now, actually. I think this is a perfectly sane unnerf to put into the game. So
agreed.
Yeah. Anyways, a teaser leaked on the official Hearthstone Facebook page this week, but is now being tweeted out by popular streamers and getting the meme treatment. So expect a big announcement this upcoming Tuesday, March 17th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It says a storm is coming. It depicts what looks to be like Lunara and what is that? Morgul, the Oracle.
Yeah, and Medivh as well. He's got his iconic shoulder pads.
Yeah, although his hood is up, I want like sexy party Medivh from the
One Night at Karazhan.
One night in Karazhan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it's what's kind of interesting to point out about this teaser image. So first of all, we've got a storm is coming, right? So we've got that like big like tagline, I guess. And when I first looked at this, I saw it on my phone and it was like a screenshot of a Facebook post reposted onto Twitter. So it was like this big. But I didn't notice until I looked at it in the show notes. So we've got if you guys are interested, if you somehow have missed, have missed this, go check out our show notes. You can see the teaser image. But when it's like blown up bigger, you can tell all of a sudden that they're statues. They're not actually like living creatures. Like they are made of stone, kind of covered in moss and stuff. Like it's so cool. Yeah.
It's a rad little GIF that they put together for this. But yeah, there's like a storm going on. There's some floaty rocky bits in the distance. You got some cards floating. I mean, a storm is coming. Is it a mana storm of a Millhouse variety? Is it?
I don't know.
Are we getting non-Warcraft heroes? Is this a hero of the storm? Is the
okay, I'm not going that far back. That this is. I mean, I know, or that far out there.
Anything.
Like I know
that you. What it is.
Yeah, and I know that you love heroes, but yeah, I don't think that this is going to be their grand crossover event. But I mean, you can kind of see it looks like there's kind of like a Stonehenge like oracle elven looking thing there. There's like some, like you said, the island itself is kind of like floaty. There's some like floaty stones up in the air too, it looks like. So I mean, I'm getting all kinds of like, I'm trying to think of like all the places that this reminds me of. So, I mean, it reminds me kind of like a little bit of like maybe Deep Home, except for it's like, it looks too bright for that kind of, although the bright is kind of from the lightning flashes. So I don't know, but then like it looks elven. So then I'm thinking like Suramar or maybe like Nazjatar going down the Ashara realm kind of tangent. Or like Nagrand in Outland, right? That has like floating islands and stuff. Or if we want to go like full on like storm, then Maelstrom obviously is like the big hole in the center of Azeroth. So there's so many things this could be. I don't know. And the fact that all of our heroes are statues is so interesting. I'm like, is this some sort of like ancient Greek Medusa thing? Like, I don't know.
Crazy. They're not allowed to call it Theros for legal reasons, but yeah, they're going to go to the ancient Greek god. You couldn't call it a plane for legal reasons. Universe within Warcraft. I guess it would be, that would be like all no, that's all Norse in Northrend. with all the makers and whatnot. Anyway, yeah, I took to Twitter because I'm not allowed to speculate, and said, "Hey, what's your best guess? What's your best guess, Cluckers?" And we got some guesses. Mark T says it's clearly Netherstorm, so my guess is anything but Netherstorm. David T agrees with you and says Maelstrom. I believe you said Maelstrom, which is my favorite sequel to the song "It's Raining Men." That's absolutely my favorite. Patzer said this is obviously Pandaria, which means there is obviously the monk class.
Interesting.
Ooh, saucy.
I guess the statues do look kind of Pandaren. A little bit, like just the style of the Murloc face, like whether it's Morgul or what, but the face does look kind of like the statues, the Mogu and Pandaria. I could definitely see that. I can't believe I didn't think of that just off the top of my head.
Got a lot of people tweeting about Pandaria and the Mogu, and like I think 3 or 4 replies on the Isle of Thunder. A couple that I pulled. Chad C said Thunder King, Isle of Thunder, maybe. An Angry Kitten said, "Are they turned to stone? Thunder King, maybe. Isle of Thunder. Weren't the Mogu turned to stone for some reason?"
Yeah, so I'm not actually 100% sure, and my lack of WoW knowledge is showing. I can't remember if they reanimated stone.
They're
like a terracotta army kind of situation, or like I know that they are like created by the Titans, and then there was the whole curse of flesh thing and blah 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 blah, and they thought everyone was weak because they were, not Titan forged anymore.
Yeah, they are technically Titan forged as well.
Okay,
so they
are Titan forged. Okay,
stone. They are like living stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely then fits in. Are we gonna like lose our curse of flesh and become Titan forged? Like
everybody gets armor, Jocelyn, but the armor now looks like rocks. There's a rock graphic for armor.
Why do I not believe you? But yeah, so okay, yeah, the Cat Jatar in the chat room is confirming that Mogu are a living stone. Okay, I knew they were Titan forged. I just wasn't sure because like sometimes that's like metally, and then they had like statues that would animate all of a sudden. Pandaria is the point in WoW where I kind of started really playing, so a lot of the lore is a little fuzzy, but
I just now want, anytime Pandaria comes up, I just want to stop podcasting and start listening to the soundtrack because it's incredible.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so very, very
Pandaria was such a great expansion.
It's amazing. Just absolutely amazing. And so anyways, hey Josh, how do you feel about doing the show on Tuesday next week?
Yeah, I'm down, man.
Okay. All right. So Angry Chicken, if you want to join us live Tuesday next week, 8 p.m. Eastern time, twitch.tv/8moodtv, come join us. Won't you? I promise we don't bite. Chat room can be a little nippy, but it's, it's just playful biting. That means they like you. It's like a playful puppy. There's the analogy I was trying to find. I was struggling.
Okay. I was like, this is going weird places. I'm just going to let them go.
Only if you don't like playing with puppies. That would be weird. But we have a new sponsor to thank today before we move into notable cards that'll be going into Wild from Boomsday and Rastakhan, and it's Burrow. You should go check them out, burrow.com/TAC. You're probably aware, shopping for a sofa, it's not what I would call fun. Would you call shopping for a sofa fun, Jocelyn?
Well, considering most of the sofa shopping I've done over the course of my life has either been to stores where it's way too expensive or stores like IKEA that is just super confusing and I can't even find where the sofas are, let alone which one I want to buy. Yeah, so I wouldn't call it fun, Garrett.
Yeah, I don't like talking. I have had a lot of really weird experiences talking to furniture salespeople. I'm good.
That feels like an odd anecdote.
It's like I don't mind. I'm one of those people that doesn't mind car salesmen for some reason. Furniture salesmen, they just get to me. I'm just like, I just want a sofa. I don't need to know about your protection plan and all the burr. And Burrow gets rid of all of that because you can just shop for your freaking sofa and customize your sofa right there on the internet without putting on pants. I don't know why I always stress how much I don't like putting on pants.
Yeah, that's always your go-to. Like, do you guys know this is online? You don't need your pants.
Listen, it's been Florida cold for a while now. I can finally start wearing shorts again, and I am reminded how much I don't like pants. So, but anyways, you should check them out. And guys, I mean, like, let's face it, like, it's hard to screw up a couch. You know, if you can sit on it, that's awesome. But like, your couch doesn't have to be mediocre. It can be awesome. So you should go check out the sofas over at Burrow. You know, you can customize it. Also, they have more than sofas. You know, if you're looking for rugs, coffee tables, love seats, armchairs, ottomans. I like ottomans because our dogs like clamming them, and then it looks like a pet. Like we're putting our chihuahuas on display because it's this pedestal with a chihuahua on top. I'm a big ottoman fan.
Well, that's also really good. It's great for pets because they have durable fabric that's scratch and stain resistant. And I know, like, our dog, we lasted literally a day having her in my house before she just jumped up on the couch and we're like, yeah, that's not a rule we're enforcing. You're too adorable. Welcome to the couch. So yeah, our couch is already showing signs of some wear and tear from that, but it's okay because she's adorable. But if we had a Burrow sofa, we wouldn't have to worry about that.
I love that you can customize them too, because you add a dog, you can add a seat. You can literally add a seat to these sofas. It's really cool stuff. If you haven't checked them out, you got to go do it now, and you have to use our link. Get $75 off your purchase and free 1-week shipping at burrow.com/TAC. That is BURROW.com/TAC for $75 off at Burrow. We thank them for their support. And now let's take a look and talk about what cards are leaving with the new standard year that we don't actually have a confirmed name for from the Boomsday Project and Rastakhan's Rumble. Last week we talked about Witchwood, and today we're going to combine Boomsday Project and Rastakhan's Rumble. And it looks like just in time. If there's a big announcement next week, I can only assume it might be expansion related. I literally am only assuming. I don't actually know. But yeah, so let's take a look. There's some really heavy hitters that will be leaving from both Boomsday and Rastakhan's Rumble. More from Boomsday, but still some notable cards. And I figured we would start in Boomsday, so let's talk about Galvanizer. Galvanizer's going away. This is one of the major engines that makes mechs go. You playing Paladin right now? You're probably very good friends with Galvanizer. Have you been playing Hunter for like the last 2 years? Well, that's less specific because they have so many options. But are you Brian Brushwood? You're probably good friends with Galvanizer.
Plus, he also enabled one of like my favorite things ever, which was like the OTK Warlock Mechathune deck, which I just love that crazy deck and this little guy. Oh man, he's so cute and he just made such fun things happen. So I'm going to miss him. Galvanizer's a really cool card.
Yeah, I won't miss him as much because I always have terrible luck with mech decks because they're entirely luck based, and if you don't draw right, they're a terrible deck, and I'm an unlucky individual. But
that's why honestly you should have played the Mechathune Warlock deck, because you literally just draw your entire thing as fast as possible. Like, you can't draw it wrong because you draw the whole thing.
I've never
in before Garrett Burns cards.
I've never been one of into like those like play your whole deck decks for some reason. It's never been an archetype or a fantasy that I like pursuing in Hearthstone. But that's me. That's me. I'm basic. I like mid-range decks. So, you know.
Yeah, I think for some reason just that combo deck really I had a lot of fun playing it. I'm generally in your camp too, Garrett. Like, I like tempo-y mid-rangey stuff, but yeah, for some reason I found a lot of fun, probably because the Mechathune animation's just so good.
It is very solid. But you know what else is solid and going to wild at some point is Crystology.
Thank everything.
Oh, come on. It's been a while since this has been particularly painful. Ever since
I
Gen
know,
and Baku
but it
went
just
away.
like it's just been so well, not even since Gen and Baku went away. It's been such a staple. And I don't know. I just don't like it. I'm glad it's gone.
To me, Crystology is synonymous with Odd Paladin.
Well, yeah, definitely.
It's just,
But
it was like,
it's just always been around. It's just always been annoying because it's like the 2/1 attack minions, like drawing 2 for 1. You can do it early in an aggro game. Like aggro's not supposed to be able to draw.
well, it can, and it draws you 2/1 attack,
Yeah.
which is fitting because 2 1s side by side look like 2 middle fingers, which is exactly what that deck is giving you when it pulls 2 1 attack minions. I've loved this. I love this card. I love draw. I get weirdly excited about just freaking draw, especially targeted draw. It's like my favorite thing. I just like I like being efficient in card games. And so Christology is like right there. I will miss it. I will miss it. And while we're on the Paladin train from Boomsday, we also have to talk about Glowtron, which could have been drawn by Christology. And Glowtron will also be heading over to Wild when Boomsday rotates out. Obviously, if you're playing ladder right now, you're seeing Glowtrons. Whether you're
Mech Paladin is really powerful, so
yep.
I think this is fine. I think the deck will still be around afterwards, although like I feel like I should just have like the caveat of like we don't know what the next expansion is. I'm assuming that, Paladin's still going to be doing mechs. Maybe not, but they could.
Even based on what I do know, I'm like just thinking about like I don't know if there's enough mechs sticking around in the existing sets. Huh. I don't know. I haven't put too much thought into that. This is like based on nothing other than my gut reaction, but
it's like literally because I have the new mech from Galakron's Awakening stuck in my head. So I'm like, they just got a new mech. It's got to stick around, right?
Yeah, you're right. But
yeah, there's a lot of mechs tied up in Boomsday for sure across everything. So
yeah,
maybe there is too much rotating out.
Let's move to Mage because this is another one. This is like top tier, like A tier celebrity. Like you go on a tour of the Hearthstone Beverly Hills, they're stopping at this house and you're getting pictures. Luna's Pocket Galaxy.
This was like the drama. This brought the drama for its entire existence in standard Hearthstone. Man, oh man, it was up, it was down, it was back up again. It was all over the map, and it made players rage. It made Mage players super happy. Man, Pocket Galaxy was such an interestingly designed card, and I was so sad at first when it didn't see play, but then, once they buffed it in our first ever Hearthstone buffs, and then people were playing around with it enough to realize how amazing and broken it was at 5, and that, it probably was still playable at 7, and some people kept it in their Highlander decks and stuff, and man, Luna's Pocket Galaxy, great story.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. They buffed it. Everyone played it. They put it back to the way it was. People kept playing it.
Yeah.
Obviously not to the degree that was being played before when it was at 5 mana, but it doesn't matter. This card will live in infamy. I traditionally don't like cards like this. I don't like cards that like drastically swing the game if you find it. This is very Keleseth-esque, which is something I always come back around to. And apparently Hearthstone is coming back around to because there's quite a few Keleseth-esque cards in the game right now. And were recently added in Descent of Dragons. So they're going to be here for a while. But for now, we will be saying goodbye to Luna's Pocket Galaxy. But that's all right. You can go visit the galaxy in Wild. Or not visit and just live there if Wild is your preferred mode.
Very true.
We're going to stick with Mage for a minute, though, because Stargazer Luna is also going away. It's not just her Pocket Galaxy. Is also Luna herself, which, the whole after you play the rightmost card in your hand, draw a card mechanic, like, whoop, buddy. That was some value. It made me go play Mage, a class that I am not, I don't usually, there's like, honestly, yeah, between this and like the Ragnaros Mage, like they got me in. They got me into Mage a few times. And I really liked it. Like, I mean, Luna is just, again, if I like drawing cards, if I like Christology, Jocelyn, I have to like Stargazer Luna.
I do find it really interesting, too, that of all of the cards that we chose to highlight from Boomsday Project, that Mage with the Pocket Galaxy and Stargazer is the only one where we had like the legendary spell alongside with the legendary actually being like, these were super impactful and amazing.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about Zarek's cloning gallery for Priest next, but we're not talking about Zarek.
Exactly.
Just the cloning gallery.
Which I do really like Cloning Gallery because it kind of gave Priest a really cool, interesting deck that ended up actually winning DreamHack Atlanta, I think, and kind of caught a lot of people off guard. And it was like after that event happened, then a lot of people started playing it on ladder and kind of realizing how good it was. But before that, this just wasn't really a thing that Priest was doing. And I mean, it kind of really started the whole res thing, which I know people are starting to get really sick of now, but I think it had a really good go. And it was an interesting way to play Priest when Priest, you know, had just such a long stretch of really just terrible expansions. I think Cloning Gallery was a really cool design, really fun, really interesting. Again, very high costed card. So a lot of people didn't really give it a shot out the get-go. But then once somebody kind of like quietly realized how awesome this could be, then, you know, they kind of swept with it and then everybody got on board. So I'm going to miss Cloning Gallery. I think it's another card that was pretty iconic coming out of Boomsday.
I will not miss this one. But yeah, it's very powerful.
But it's another one with such a good story.
Yeah, I agree. It has a very good story. I'm a little done, as is well documented with all these res enabling things.
Yeah, chat room is 100% agreeing with you right now. They're not looking back with nostalgia glasses like I am at all.
I'm calling it now though. We will miss this card.
Yeah.
There will come a point in a year's time. We're going to be like, oh, man, boy, that was cool, wasn't it? That was powerful. Wow. What a card. But staying on that train, mass hysteria as we move into Rastakhan's Rumble is also going away. And, you know, honestly, it's fine. Like, Priest has always controlled the board very well. Mass hysteria had a lot to live up to, frankly, in the pantheon of Priest control tools. And I think it did so, to be frank, with style. Rastakhan's Rumble is not an expansion that I look upon particularly fondly. Mm-hmm. And yet this one really sticks out to me. And it's like a piece of removal, and something that I think would be really easy to fall in the background and not think about very often because it feels very Brawl-esque. Like we've seen removal tools like this before, but Mass Hysteria, I think, really kind of stands on its own. Like on its own merit, and obviously was more than good enough to get included in Priest for basically its entire existence in the game of Hearthstone.
Yeah, which again, for a Rastakhan's Rumble card is really saying something because I feel like that's like the least impactful expansion in the last few years of Hearthstone. Since maybe, Grand Tournament, yeah.
Yeah, adventures notwithstanding.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I am with you, but this is a huge one from Rastakhan's Rumble.
And I can't remember now when I should probably know them by now, but the like design philosophies behind the classes. Did they say they want Priest to be able to do these big mass removal things?
I do not remember. You're talking about the class
I can't
identity.
Remember. Yeah, the identity thing. Yeah.
Well, I did happen to find it very quickly. Strengths, healing, narrow but powerful spells, copying, a single minion buffs, death rattle, limitations, card draw, weaknesses, face damage spells, multi-minion buffs. Doesn't mention control in here as a strength or a weakness or a limitation.
It did say single target removal, right? Basically. So I would say
single minion buffs.
Oh, single minion buffs. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Notice it doesn't say resurrect. Like
so we can only hope that this is the end of all the res effects.
Would like to point that out. I mean, when did this came out? Oh, I guess it wasn't that long ago. Summer of 2019 is when the class identity blog post went up.
Yeah, and chat, I know that there are plenty of priest removal spells. That wasn't what I was talking about. I was talking specifically about Hearthstone's view of the class and what they wanted the identity to be. And so I couldn't remember if big removal was one of the things that they said they wanted priest to have. Yeah.
And then Spirit of the Frog. I wanted to bring this one up because it's been in, it's been out, it's been in, it's been out. But Spirit of the Frog has seen quite a bit of play and was a card that I just found fun in Shaman. I really liked this card. This is the whole, if you don't remember, it was the spirit that whenever you cast a spell, draw a spell from your deck that costs 1 more. Again, if you're noticing a pattern with me, I like targeted draw.
Yes, very much.
But this also, it's just a lot of fun. Like, I get to cast something and then something else gets into my hand, and maybe I can cast, maybe I can't. Depends on how much mana I spent. It's a spirit, so it had stealth for 1 turn, so you tended to be able to get at least 2 draws out of this across 2 turns, which was really rad. And a couple other spirits saw a little bit of a spotlight, but to me, Spirit of the Frog is the one that saw the most of it. With like a sub genre of card that felt like it didn't quite hit the mark, but Spirit of the Frog I think did. So I'm gonna miss this one.
Yeah, me too. Not as much though as the next card. I mean, the next card honestly is probably my favorite card that has come out in Hearthstone ever. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, okay. So Jocelyn, I know you've had a very tumultuous relationship with the next card from Rastakhan's Rumble. Are you ready to do what needs to be done?
Oh, I am ready. I am ready to introduce this card before its final moments in Standard. Everyone, please welcome The Undertaker!
You said it right! Oh my God.
You're welcome.
I thought I would go to my grave without ever hearing that. Wow.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
You mean The Undertaker, right?
The Undertaker, yes.
The Undertaker, the card that they had to nerf because Hunter was too good?
Yep.
Everyone's favorite wrestler.
Everyone's favorite wrestler, obviously.
Yeah, The Undertaker is going to go to Wild, and frankly, hasn't really seen a lot of play in a while, but there was a reign. There was a point where we thought we were going to be living in death rattle hell for the rest of eternity, and that The Undertaker was going to be our jailer.
Yeah, it was I mean, it had its shining moment, right?
I think
but it went away pretty quickly. Considering it's a neutral card, I was kind of surprised that it never really showed up past that. Was it Hadronox Druid? Yeah. I think this is one of my all-time favorite Hearthstone cards. This is up there. I don't have a list, but Undertaker is up there just because just stacking death rattles is so cool. It is so. This is like sleeper Shutterwalk levels of cool, man. Like Shutterwalks is just like pew pew pew, all your battle cries, and Undertaker does that, but with death rattles. It was not as good. Didn't see nearly as much play. Didn't have nearly as big of an impact. But all the death rattles, right? So I feel like that's probably why. Although if it was just gain the death rattle effects of everything that had died this game, that probably would have been ridiculously OP. Like I'm sure that the effects of 3 minions is something that they play tested the crap out of to arrive at. So I get it, but I think maybe they could have made, 4, 5, maybe a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I have a feeling they had to have tested that, right? I'm certain internally they were like, "Oh, what do you think? Let's put it to 7. Oh dear God, what have we done? Okay, let's try 11. No, you fool." But yeah, this is a card I will miss, even though I already kind of miss it because it hasn't been seeing very much play. But
yeah,
super rad card. Gonna miss it. Now, Jocelyn, there are 2 more cards I would be remiss if we didn't mention, and I think these are the heavy hitters because they are neutrals and they're played in a lot of decks. And it's Ziliax and Snip Snap will be going to Wild. Now, Snip Snap was added in the buff event, but is technically Boomsday. So Snip Snap will be going away, even though we haven't. Poor Snip Snap. The brightest stars burn out the quickest. I don't believe that's scientifically accurate, but
I'm glad that Snip Snap is heading to Wild and not sticking around just for the sake of sticking around. It belongs with the mechs. It was introduced in a mech event. Like that all makes perfect sense to me. And Ziliax, Oh my God, get out. I am done. I am over it. You have been around for too long. Everyone plays you. I've had it. Get out.
I don't mind Ziliax.
I hate Ziliax.
Surprised by how not relieved I feel thinking about Ziliax going to wild. I'm fine with it. I think it's okay. Like, Ziliax has clearly had its time. However, this is one of those cards that I think down the road I would very much like to see a reprint or a reintroduction of, because it's just such a strong tool for decks to have.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, here's my thing. Like, I know obviously Ziliax is a very good card, and I'm just sick of him because he's been played in so many different decks literally since he was introduced. Like, he's just been prolific and everywhere, and I'm just done. I'm just bored. I want something new. And I think that, like, there's plenty of ways to do this, like healing, taunting, whatever, like this kind of recovery.
Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal Rush, and Magnetic.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, what I'm trying to get at is that there are many ways to do this kind of recovery phase if you're a control deck and you're getting run over by aggro. Like, turn 5 is about the time. It's like, think like Sludge Belcher and Healbot. Like, those are all things that fit this exact same sort of like role.
Lotheb.
And Lotheb, sure. Yeah, Lotheb as well. Like, and I just am ready to move on to whatever the next thing is, because I feel like I've seen Ziliax in every single game of Hearthstone that I have played since Boomsday came out. And so I'm just, I am ready to move into whatever the next phase of this style of card is, because I'm just sick and tired of Ziliax.
I think all of that is fair. I can't really explain it. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I guess I'm not sick of it. I think there's a reason Ziliax is it certainly looks like is going to make it a wild untouched, like unnerfed, unmodified.
Oh yeah, like, I don't think it needs to be nerfed. I don't think it's OP or anything. It's just such a good card that it has been everywhere, to the point that I'm just like, okay, here comes Ziliax, and sure enough, there's Ziliax, like, all of the time. He just gets slotted into every single deck unless you're running something very aggressive. So that's like tempo decks, control decks, combo decks, like, everybody was playing Ziliax, to the point that you just, like, unless you came up against super crazy aggro, you were going to see your opponent play Ziliax. And that to me is just boring. Like, I'm just over it. I'm done. I just want to move on. And they can make something that does a very similar thing, like gives you a bit of heal, gives you like a way to impact the board and whatever. Like, there's ways to do what Ziliax does. I'm just ready for it not to be a magnetic, divine shield, taunting, life-stealing, rushing mech.
I just want to celebrate. I'm just trying to celebrate it instead, because I really do think this is just one of the most, like, perfectly designed cards they've ever made, because it didn't break the game. It was like, I think that this is the sweet spot, and it's been around long enough that it's time for it to go to wild. But this really hit the nail on the head in terms of card design, because, you know, it's, I don't know. Something about this card that I am supremely comfortable with. And I think that's cool. And I just wanted to give it a little bit of a shout out, because I'm gonna miss you, Ziliax. Snap, I'll miss you too, but I'm a little sick of microbots. I get enough of them in my Battlegrounds.
Yep.
Yep. Hey, Snap, maybe I'll see you in Battlegrounds sometime. This card would be busted in Battlegrounds. Echo would be insane in Battlegrounds. Maybe we'll see Snip,
I don't think it's going to happen.
And it won't have Echo.
Snip, snop. Get out. You too, Garrett. You take Ziliax and you get out.
Snip, Sneep? Is that better?
No. None of
Snip
this
Unicorn? Smelt the eye in Unicorn is a number 1? Does that make it better?
No.
Friggin' drill as a unicorn horn? All right. Anyways,
you're getting there. Keep going.
Okay.
I'm coming around.
And it's projecting a rainbow out of its butt.
Snap, snip. Okay,
Snap,
chat room. Snip. You go with Garrett and Ziliax, and you all get out.
All right. Well, I'm taking our audience and leaving. Well, there you have it. There's our retrospective on cards from Crap. What was that year? What was
Raven.
Year of the Raven. Okay. From Year of the Raven. That's our retrospective on Year of the Raven cards. Notable Year of the Raven cards that are going to Wild. Hope you enjoyed it. And now let's bring it home for the first time in a while with an email or two.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello?
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. If you're supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC, congrats, you're in the Discord. You can just message us there and skip the inbox entirely. Kevin Novus writes in and says, half question, half I'd love to hear your opinion. We've had OP Battlegrounds heroes before, but Deathwing feels like the first hero who is genuinely bad for the game. Ooh, hot take. As soon as he shows up in a lobby, which is, of course, most of the time, everyone favors tokens and digs for a rat pack just to counter him. Ixar said in a tweet, they're likely going to nerf him to +2 attack, which will help, but especially in early game, I feel like it will still affect everyone's drafting choices. So to make it a question, how do you feel about Deathwing's effect on the meta? I hadn't really thought about it this way. Like, if I think it's good, if it's bad. I mean, I do just straight up think Deathwing is overpowered. Like, I don't think it's
I think that Deathwing is overpowered, and obviously Blizzard and their internal stats support that since they've been playtesting and looking at nerfing him to +2 attack. So I don't think that that's like a statement that's totally out there. He's obviously more powerful than he should be. But in terms of the more general idea of this question being that a hero that makes you change your drafting choices, the idea that that's bad for the game, I kind of feel like that I just don't agree with. I think that once you get past the, what are my favorite heroes? What kind of comp do I want to build? That's kind of like your first steps when you're getting into Battlegrounds as like a new game mode. But as you progress through Battlegrounds and start to get better and build up your skill, one of those skills is very similar to Standard and Wild, where you're going to want to be familiar with the meta. You're going to want to have a good idea of what your opponent is playing, and you're going to want to counter that. And that same idea should apply in Battlegrounds. You should be familiar with your heroes. You should be trying to draft and make boards and decks. And this is something I still struggle with, is I don't necessarily look at my next opponent and go, okay, I need to get rid of these two things because they're not going to help me against, Y opponent. I need to do X, So I think that it's really a skill that you need to develop as a Battlegrounds player, is adapting to your opponents and adapting to your lobby with each and every game that you play. So I don't think that a hero that makes you do that is bad for the game. I think maybe a hero that's powerful enough to show up in every single lobby is bad for the game, because then you're making less choices as you're drafting because you're doing the same thing every time because Deathwing is in there every time. But I don't think making you change your strategy and making you change how you draft, like that to me is an integral part of Battlegrounds, not something we should be actively trying to avoid. You shouldn't be able to just go into everything and be like, I'm going to make beasts and I'm going to win. Like, You should have to make decisions. You should have to make choices.
Yeah, I used to just, when Battlegrounds first came out, I'm like, I'm just going to force mechs. And 9 times out of 10, it worked for me. But that shouldn't be the case. That's not how you get better and improve and win or top 4 more games on average. And so, I think you hit the nail on the head. There's a big difference between saying that Deathwing is overpowered and that is bad, and saying that a hero inferring or having an effect on how you draft is bad. I don't think that the latter statement is true. I think it's good.
Right.
For all the reasons that you pointed out, Joss. And frankly, and I'm sure you're using shorthand, Kevin Opus. I'm sure you don't mean this legitimately, but in case anyone is doing this, you should not be digging for Rat Pack. You don't have that much gold that early in the game. What are you doing? You're falling behind. Don't. I would say, if anything,
you're hoping for Rat Pack so that you can compete with Deathwing because of all the reasons that we talked about when we talked about Deathwing's +3 attack earlier on.
Tier 2 is actually that's a hot tier. You wouldn't think it, but you should be excited about tier 2. There is some rad shit in tier 2. Like the big ones you're looking for are still like your Kaboom bots and your Spawn of N'Zoths. However, Glyph Guardian, totally solid. I mean, the 2/4 that is essentially a 4/4 the first time it attacks.
Yeah.
That's amazing. A 4/4 at tier 2, that's great. Harvest Golem has always been a solid, like, all right, well, it's there. I'm trying to be efficient with my gold. Let's go. Imprisoner, fantastic. I talked about Nathrezim Overseer and how much I love it. So, it's a good
there's
tier.
a lot of really solid tier 2 choices. I would say like tier 2 is one that people should spend a lot more time in. And then, you can kind of, at this point, rush through tier 4. Like just, spend some time in 2, grab a couple things from 3, then go 4, 5.
I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that because I think right now it is a mad dash to 6. And however,
well, yes. Yeah.
and whoever finds the nuts just wins.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling right now after I had some bad drafts. But
Yeah.
it is a bit of it's a little fast right now for my taste, personally, the meta right now, if we just want to get into that for a second. But yeah, just a little quick, I think. A little volatile.
Yeah. But I don't necessarily think that that's because of Deathwing. I think that that's because of the changes that they made to, increase the tier 6 minion pool, to just make tier 6 more appealing because they wanted people to have a reason to actually get there. I think maybe they adjusted it too far in the tier 6 direction because you're right. Like every single lobby I'm in now feels like people just want to get up to tier 6 as fast as possible. Like that's just where you want to go. You want to find the missing piece of your puzzle because if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it and then you're going to lose. So the rush to tier 6 ever since they put that patch in is 100%. My face is 100% happening. So
Moving
I think
windows
they maybe adjusted a little bit too far.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So, who's our next question from?
This one comes to us from Mix Clouds. He says, since I'm still trying to wrap my head around the new Battlegrounds meta, what are the top 5 cards in Battlegrounds right now? So kind of the all-star team of Battlegrounds, meaning that if Bob offers you one of these, you're like, yep, absolutely going to abandon all my plans and build my board around this one.
Oh, that's something completely different. That's not top 5. That's what makes you shift your strategy.
Yeah. And so I think Mick is having issues, I think, just adjusting to the post-Dragons Battlegrounds meta. So maybe not necessarily top 5 cards in Battlegrounds, but just what would make you change your mind? Or in some cases, because I find I generally just go for the strongest minions and the strongest board I can get early on, because you don't have a bajillion rerolls. So you just have to kind of take what is objectively best in whatever draft that you're offered. But what minions do you say are your kind of pivot points? When do you decide this is what I'm going to aim for now? And for me, it's probably at this point, Cobalt Guardian makes me go mechs. But that's my big, no matter what I'm thinking I might be trying to do, Cobalt Guardians make me go mechs.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking what makes you draft a certain way, yeah, Cobalt Guardian is the star for mech, but can also be one of the stars for Divine Shield, which is a comp.
Yes.
Not a tribe in and of itself, but is a comp. Soul Juggler is a huge one as well. Mm-hmm. Although I tend to not Soul Jugglers. I find Soul Juggler interesting because I don't grab it. I very rarely draft it and then chase it. But if I have an Imprisoner already and I come across a Soul Juggler, no brainer. I'm grabbing it and we're going because 2 juggles early, yeah, worth it. And then
and I really like Imp Gang Boss, but I found that every time I pick Imp Gang Boss, I never find a Soul Juggler. So they work so well together, but I can't seem to get them in the same lobby. It's always my opponents that manage to find the 2 of them. But I feel like Hearthstone is oh, Imp Gang Boss, we know what she wants to do. No jugglers for you.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to just give my top 5, I think Rat Pack would be on that list. Spawn of N'Zoth would be on this list. Cobalt Guardian would be on this list.
I feel like Spawn is just a powerful card, period. Like no matter what you're doing, Spawn will just be good because he just buffs your entire board. There's nothing tribe specific. So if you've got a whole bunch of just objectively powerful minions, but they don't match like tribally, then, you know, Spawn doesn't care. Spawn just will buff your whole board.
Spawn don't care.
So I feel like, yeah,
Spawn plus
don't
6
care.
plus 6 plus 6. Spawn plus 6 plus
exactly.
6. That's it. That's all there is to that. But like I'm just trying to think like what I think are like the top 5 cards right now. So I think it's Rat Pack, Spawn on the Zoth, Cobalt Guardian, Mama Bear. Because Mama Bear is exactly kind of what the end of Mix's question mentions, which is like, what makes you like abandon what you're doing? Mama Bear makes me go, oh, I guess I'm beast now. And
do you have the same sort of feelings about Megasaur? Like if you see Megasaur, do you go, oh, I'm gonna grab that and go Murlocs?
No, definitely not. No. If I have Bran and my board sucks, then yes, because then I'm like, I'm grabbing Tide Hunters and I'm gonna make a bunch of Goldens and find even more Murlocs, and so I can actually build a board quickly. But that's like very, very specific. I have to find Bran, have a board that I hate, that I like. I have it out for it. I have it out for this board, and I'm like staring down the barrel of a Tide Hunter or like 2 Tide Hunters, going, I can get a golden real quick. I could get a golden token and then discover another Murloc, and oh, there's a holy mackerel, and let's move on with our life. My extremely biased 5th in my, by the way, would be holy mackerel. I think this is I think this is biased. I think Imp Mama or like Gas Coiler is actually better, kind of in its own right.
I love Imp Mama, like love. I think I've only seen her when I've actually used her once because I got her off of a triple, but I have seen her actually offered to me once, and I was way too far down. I can't remember if it was Beasts or Mechs, but I was way far down another line. Like I couldn't just swap to Demons. So, but yeah, man, she's so cool. Like she's, I love Imp Gang Boss, and she's Imp Gang Boss on steroids. So
the
she's
most
great.
The most steroids. She juicing.
Yes.
She juicing. Mama got juice. Yeah. So
if it has Mama in the name, we're on board.
yeah, because like when I think top 5, I think of things that are like they're like just good, and that's like Cobalt Guardian is like the poster child. I think this is a card that is just undeniably good. And if you find it early enough, like you're going to take it and you're going to try and make it work. And I think the same.
So
yeah.
Should we just say straight up Shifter Xeris is the best of all of the cards because he can be anything way earlier than you're allowed to have it?
It can also be anything terrible.
But it can be anything amazing.
I mean, for fun reasons, sure.
I love him.
Like Razor Gore and Caligos come into my mind, but they're so comp dependent and they're like terrible. They're potentially terrible. Depending on how you drafted. Like you can't pivot.
Yeah, pivoting to Caligos is really difficult, I think.
Same goes for Razor Gore. It's like, well, I found Razor Gore, sweet. I have turns out no dragons. I have no dragons at all. So yeah. I'm going to stand by. Like my top 5 is just overall. I think I would call Rat Pack, Spawn in the South, Cobalt, Guardian, Imp Mama, and Mama Bear. That's what I'm going to say my top 5 is. That's what I'm going to say my top 5 is.
That's solid choices.
Yeah. Maybe once Rat Pack becomes a little less nutty, I replace it with Brand Bronzebeard. It's on the
Do you see Rat Pack and decide you're going to go Beasts, or do you see
never.
Rat Pack and just go, oh, you're good? So what makes you decide it's time for Beasts?
Surviving long enough to make Mama Bear work.
Okay.
A little bit of luck.
Like I said, a Cobalt Guardian makes me think, okay, this is going to be a mech game. I don't really know. Like for me, it would probably be Hyena, and then either Wolf or Rat Pack makes me go, okay, maybe I could do Beasts if no one else is doing Beasts. And then in terms of like demons, I actually don't know what my I guess it would probably be the Imp Gang Boss Juggler combo. Like that's really good.
Big or Juggler, it's 2 different answers. Yeah, it's like that's
true. Does anyone play big demons anymore?
Oh, totally. Yeah. No. I
haven't seen any big demons lately.
3 second places in the past week with big demons. I always lose out to.
So maybe I need to go. Maybe I need to go big demons if no one else is doing them. If I'm not seeing anyone else doing them.
Not chased very hard right now. And honestly, a big Wrathweaver by itself has been getting me there. Even in games where I don't find a floating watcher. If you are already Wrathweavering and you find an early floating watcher, ooh, buddy, it just feels like nothing ever happened. You're just like, is this doing one more damage when I win? Oh, I didn't notice that it had moved to 4. It's wonderful. But like most games, 2 of the 3 Big Demons games that are sticking out in my mind, I just didn't even find a floating watcher. I think one of the games I found it like at the very tail end. I bought it just to buff my Wrathweaver and sold it again. And so like it's kind of more like for me it's playing like pre floating watcher Big Demons in that like I'm just chasing the Mal'Ganis so I can just stop the bleed. But also like I know we have trendier things to chase, but freaking an Island Battlemaster is still really good in this meta, especially if someone didn't get the Murloc nuts. And even if they did, it's probably one player that did. So you can still kind of hedge your bets. And if you're already going big demons, you're probably kind of like you don't have a lot of wiggle room for pivot. So you might just have to accept your second place fate. But yeah, an Island Battlemaster is kind of still really good. And you're like guaranteed to have a huge one if you were going big demons. So yeah, like, and that's something I like doing that every now and then because sometimes it is fun to have like a turn 1 plan. Like I'll be like, oh, I have a Wrathweaver, if I get a Wrathweaver, a Tidehunter, and the freaking not the one that hurts you,
Homunculus?
The servant, the fiendish servant.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, I'm gonna buy the Tidehunter and freeze. And I'm just in a mood. I'm in a mood for big demons. I'm just like, well, I have a plan right here on turn 1, and I can execute on it. And sometimes I'm Rafam, and I get their fiendish servant off of my Tidehunter for turn 2, and life just works out beautifully. But yeah, and then juggler demons are the one where I make the call the earliest. I think it's really dangerous, and I might honestly say it's a bad strategy to chase mech right now. I think too many people are doing it, and I think the chances of you actually getting a big enough mech board to win the game is really slim because everyone's going for those kobolds.
I was gonna say unless you're AFK, because you do have those 2 discovers where you could hopefully get a cobalt and another mech or 2 cobalts or whatever. Like, yeah, I feel like AFKs are just running away with the mech game right now. So
mech has really let me down in the last week. And you know me, it is my most practiced draft. I will force it when I shouldn't and make it work. And I cannot make it work right now. So yeah, mechs are, this is possibly anecdotal, but I've watched streamers at higher MMRs than I, and they seem to share that opinion. So I think mechs are down a little bit right now. So yeah, but there you have it. Thanks for asking, Mix. That was a fun little chat. Yeah. And honestly, guys, if you have like standard or wild, like thoughts, questions, comments, or whatever, like literally all of the emails and Discord messages and questions we're getting right now are about Battlegrounds. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm abandoning all your standard questions. Get them in. Tell us about your theories of what you think is coming on the 17th. Talk about your favorite decks. If you guys want to get nostalgic like we did, like bring it on. Bring on the standard stuff. Let's go. I would like to point out that if you send in predictions for what's coming on the 17th, the next episode we will do will be the episode on the 17th.
That's true.
So maybe tweet it at us and we can do a supercut of all the wrong predictions.
Yeah, I will read them and then I will know if you're right or wrong. And then, so you can just let me know what you think.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of this. Keep the emails coming, everybody. TACpodcast@gmail.com, or let us know, or drop us a message in the Patreon Discord. Speaking of our patrons, thank you so much for supporting us, folks. Check us out over at patreon.com/TAC if you want to support this here podcast. And also huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H and Cheesy Bob. If you want to become angry chicken producer, literally help us pay the bills. Literally. Head on over to patreon.com/TAC, and we'll thank you every single episode. Thank you so very, very much. The back catalog of The Angry Chicken can be found on amove.tv or youtube.com/amovetv. If you haven't enjoyed our new clips on YouTube, we have an Amove 2. So the link to the entire Unbroken VOD can be found in the video description of any of our clips. It'll send you over to amove2, which doesn't have that many subscribers, so it doesn't have a custom URL. But go check it out. We'll be live next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/amovetv, since apparently there's a big announcement on next Tuesday. We are normally doing it Wednesday, but Hearthstone just cannot decide when the hell it actually wants to make big announcements. So
we're going to flex.
This is our life now. I like it. We are able to be flexible.
I like it too, man. It's good. I like recording at nighttime.
Tell Ryan I am sorry.
I am the night. That's fine.
Anyways, before we leave, speaking of the Gamers Inn, Jocelyn, where can people find you when you're not doing TAC?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays, and also, Gamers Inn. Right now, we're playing the new Ori game, which is really cool. I'm super excited about. Just played through Blind Forest, and now Will of the Wisp is out. So I'm going to be talking about that next week. Man, that game's hard.
I'm like ready for a new city builder. I'm exhausted Jurassic World Evolution, which I loved. And I'm just ready for, like, I call it my toy soldier games, because like it used to be I would hole myself away from online games and play something like Total War or XCOM. But then it became like City Skylines and now Jurassic World. And I'm looking for a new one. I need something that's just like this really nerdy thing.
Have you done Planet Zoo?
No.
You might want to look into that one if you like Jurassic Evolution.
But do the monkeys eat the tourists?
No.
Then I don't know how interested I am in it, Jocelyn.
I'm so sorry.
I would play
Planet Zoo was fun.
I would play the crap out of a Blizzard city builder. Pick up Blizzard Universe. Let me just manage a local economy in it, and I'm in. I'm done. Like, let me, Stormwind City Builder, come hero. Tax the auction house. I would play the shit out of it. I'd be so into it, Jocelyn. Anyways, folks, you can find insane ramblings like that on my Twitter. Give me a follow at Garrett Art. And as a matter of fact, I have actually had a little bit of extra freelance time. So if you need some freelance done, head on over to nomoonart.com. If you are unaware, I'm a graphic designer. So you can go there, you can see some stuff I've made, and you can also contact me right there if you are looking for a graphic designer. So go check that out as well. Everything else is at amove.tv. Didn't do WoW Killer this week. Taliesin still being a dad. It's coming back. We haven't killed it. We haven't killed WoW Killer. It's just on a baby break. So it'll be coming back. And so go check it out. amove.tv for everything. Thanks so much, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken. I have a feeling you're not going to want to miss next week's episode. But until then, job's done.
Job's done.